German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has strongly criticized US Vice President J.D. Vance's remarks advocating cooperation with the far-right party Alternative for Germany. Scholz condemned any engagement with far-right groups as unacceptable and urged Vance to refrain from interfering in Germany's democratic processes.
The AfD is a party from whose ranks National Socialism and its monstrous crimes against humanity, such as those that occurred in Dachau, are trivialized as a bird's poop of German history. Therefore, a commitment to never again cannot be reconciled with support for the AfD. That's why we will not accept it if outsiders intervene in our democracy, in our elections, and in the democratic formation of opinion in favor of this party. Olaf Scholz, Chancellor of Germany.
On February 14th, during the Munich Security Conference, J.D. Vance openly criticized European democracy. According to him, the biggest threat to Europe is not Russia or China, but rather an internal threat. Regarding Germany, Vance argued that democracy should not have firewalls, referring to the German political consensus of refusing to cooperate with the far right.
Relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered. Democracy rests on the sacred principle that the voice of the people matters. There's no room for firewalls. You either uphold the principle or you don't. Europeans, the people, have a voice. European leaders have a choice. And my strong belief is that we do not need to be afraid of the future.
According to the German news outlet ZDF, after his speech, Vance met with AfD's candidate for Chancellor, Alice Weidel. The meeting did not take place within the official framework of the Munich Security Conference, as AfD was not invited. Journalists report that the politicians spoke for about 30 minutes discussing Russia's war against Ukraine and Germany's domestic politics. The Alternative for Germany party is known for its far-right anti-immigration rhetoric and its calls to end aid to Ukraine and lift sanctions on Russia. Recently, large-scale protests against AfD have taken place across Germany. Despite this, the party and its leader Weidel have received public support from Elon Musk. Christian Democratic Union Chancellor candidate Friedrich Merz responded to Vance's remarks, asserting that Washington should not interfere in Germany's internal politics.
We respect the presidential elections and the congressional elections in the U.S., and we expect the U.S. to do the same here. Free speech remains free speech and remains part of our open democratic society. But fake news, hate speech, and offenses remain subject to legal restraints and control by independent courts. Friedrich Merz, leader of the Christian Democratic Union.
German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock also criticized Vance's statement. Speaking on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference, she emphasized that only German voters have the right to decide the fate of democracy in Germany. No one else should dictate their choices. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius reassured the public that German democracy is not at risk, stating that even a party like AfD is allowed to participate in elections.
In this democracy, every opinion has a voice. It allows, in parts, extremist parties like the far-right AfD to campaign quite normally, just like any other party. That is democracy. And that is why I strongly oppose the impression that Vice President Vance has created that minorities are being suppressed or silenced in our democracy. We know not only against whom we are defending our country, but also for what? For democracy, for freedom of expression, for the rule of law, and for the dignity of every individual. Boris Pistorius, Federal Minister of Defense of Germany.
On February 23rd, Germany will hold snap parliamentary elections. According to polling data compiled by Reuters, the most popular party remains Friedrich Merz's Christian Democratic Union, followed by Alternative for Germany, Olaf Scholz's Social Democratic Party, and the Green Party. Reported by Serhiy Kulas, Andriy Dmitrenko, UATV News. Russia plans to deploy several thousand more North Korean soldiers to the Kursk front line, a move driven by the heavy battlefield losses suffered by its forces, according to the President of Ukraine.
We are seeing that another few thousand, 2,000, maybe 2,500 to 3,000, are in the process of being redeployed from North Korea to the Kursk direction. It's definitely not because of the good life. We clearly understand that they are suffering losses. We estimate their casualties exceed 4,000, with about two-thirds of them killed.
Russia began using North Korean servicemen in combat operations in the Kursk region as early as the fall of 2024. According to intelligence reports from Ukraine and South Korea, approximately 12,000 North Korean troops have been deployed in total. Ukrainian forces have managed to eliminate about a third of this contingent. Due to these severe losses, the activity of North Korean troops in the Kursk region significantly declined in January 2025. However, on February 7th, Ukrainian president reported that Russian command had once again brought North Korean troops into the assaults on Kursk region. According to him, hundreds of Russian and North Korean soldiers have been killed, and reinforcements from North Korea are likely intended to offset these losses. However, Moscow is not only expecting soldiers from Pyongyang, but also weapons.
They continue to maintain contact with North Korea regarding military personnel, weapons, and missiles. We are tracking all of it: missiles, artillery, troops. This is direct foreign involvement in the war, and even captured soldiers acknowledge it. This is a clear case of drawing another country into the conflict.
North Korea will continue to provide Russia with weapons in 2025, according to Kirill Budanov, chief of the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine. The primary focus of this supplies is artillery systems. North Korea has built up a massive artillery arsenal over decades. In just the past 3 months, Pyongyang has delivered to Moscow approximately 120 self-propelled 170mm artillery systems Koksan and 120 240mm multiple rocket launchers M1991.
The 170mm weapons have powerful ammunition and good capability. The 240mm MLRS are like any other heavy systems. They make more problems on the front line. Kirill Budanov, chief of the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine, in the interview with the War Zone.
According to Ukrainian intelligence, North Korea will also supply Russia with additional howitzers and 150 short-range ballistic missiles. The Russian army first used North Korean ballistic missiles against Ukraine in January 2024. Later, Pyongyang expanded its support by supplying troops for Russia's invading forces. Moscow has sent North Korean soldiers to the Kursk front line, where for over 6 months the Kremlin has been unsuccessfully attempting to push Ukrainian forces out of the region.
Last year, the enemy aimed to turn this region into a buffer zone and planned to advance toward Kharkiv and Sumy. Therefore, we acted preemptively and launched our own offensive, shifting the battle onto enemy territory in the Kursk region. We disrupted their plans, and today we have established our own security zone on Russian soil, along the Ukrainian border. We control about 500 square kilometers and force the Russians to redeploy their most combat-ready units from other directions. Oleksandr Syrsky, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, on Telegram. The enemy is diverting a significant number of troops and, most importantly, equipment to this direction. The Kursk region is their territory, yet for more than 6 months, they have been unable to change the situation. For us and our partners, this is a very positive signal. It shows that we can and must strike the enemy wherever we have the capability and reach.
The Kursk operation could play a crucial role in future negotiations to end the war, said the President of Ukraine in an interview with The Guardian. According to Volodymyr Zelensky, if talks with Russia begin, he intends to propose a direct territorial exchange with Moscow. Reported by Serhiy Kuras, Yulia Hranovska, UATV News.